Tell me when you're ready. So for us to get better, we have to learn how to be productive and be excellent and be at our best in big games at critical moments. And an example of that would be this: it's 13-3 at halftime against a top-ranked team in the country on the road. They're homecoming, they're undefeated, but it's 13-3 at half. And we go out in the second half and we fumble on the second play, and that can't happen. Okay, so at a moment when we need to be at our best, we fumble. So we hold them to a field goal. So now it's 16-3, and our offense takes the ball 62 yards, I believe, in 10 plays after our best kickoff return of the year, and we bust an assignment on third down when they blitz us, which we have an opportunity on that play to score a touchdown, which makes it a 16-10 game instead of a 16-6 game. So now, more than midway through the third quarter against one of the top-ranked teams in the country on the road, it's 16-10 instead of 16-6. But it was 16-6, so it's still a 10-point game. And then all heck broke loose, and they started making plays, and we didn't. And you know what has to happen to this program, to this team, is at the moment of truth. It's like John Wooden always said: competitive greatness. If you look at his pyramid of success, competitive greatness is defined as being at your best when your best is needed. And we have to develop that in our players, and we have to go find players that possess that. And that is the mission. And when we do that, then we will have a chance. But if we don't, then when we get in games like that, that's what's going to happen. And that was a very, very good football team. I think, you know, they deserve to be ranked where they are. They're big, they're strong, they're physical. I mean, when you look at those guys in person, their lower bodies, the strength that they had in their hip core and their thighs and their you know, it was their midsection. It was really impressive. So it was ended up being a really lopsided score when we had a chance to close the gap to 6, you know, more than midway through the third quarter, and we couldn't get it done, and then the wheels fell off. So that's going to be a huge emphasis for us this week, next week, and certainly going forward, is developing that and finding men that possess it, that also have the skill sets we need. And that's a form of mental toughness that we have to continue to work on. So,
Jim, being your best when you need to be your best, is that something that you can easily see in a high school kid?
I'm not talking about, we're done recruiting high school kids for this year.
You've got to do this going forward with the program. You've got to find those kind of kids.
I'm talking about portal. I'm finding portal kids. I'm finding portal kids. We're gonna turn this program around, and we're gonna do it with portal kids. High school kids, we don't have the ability right now to recruit high school kids in our footprint that can come in here and be impact players immediately. And I want to win, and I want to win now. And so we're going to attack the portal, and we're going to attack junior college, and we're going to bring players in here that have done it at a higher level that can go on the field and produce. So do I think you can see that in portal guys and junior college guys? Yes, in portal guys, somewhat in junior college guys. But it's about talking to them. It's about getting a feel for their grit. I'll give you an example. Ronnie Lott. You know, I'm going to go back to a high school kid, okay? But I was in junior high, and we all know who Ronnie Lott is, right? I mean, the guy cut off his finger to play a football game. So he's to me, the greatest example of grit and competitive greatness that I've ever been around, at least. I was in 9th grade. My dad was recruiting him to the University of Washington. He came to our house, and I still remember to this day, which is a long time ago, exactly what his persona was. It just was like, whoa, this is a dude. So you got to get to know him, you know. But we're going to bring some dudes in here. So that's the deal.
You have a chance to end the season on a high note. How important is that for you to win these next couple of games and go into the offseason with a little bit of positive?
Oh, it's critical. I mean, this program's grown this year. The record doesn't reflect it, but it's a much better football team. Unfortunately, the record is what matters. it matters this year, you know. I mean, you have to look beneath the record and see if you've grown, and we have, but it's incredibly important, you know. It really is. I think it's really important for a number of reasons. Number one, I think about the 11 or 12 guys that are going to leave this program after the UMass game, play their last home game this week against Sacred Heart, that have been here through, you know, some really tough times. I mean, a lot of these guys came in 2019. They were not a good football team. This was the first program in D1 to cancel football during 2020. I think 2 teams did it, and this is one of them. So these guys had to withstand, or, you know, they had to figure out a way to get through that. They didn't even get to play football. They didn't play in the spring. They just didn't play football. I mean, I can't even imagine what that would be like to be one of those kids. You come here to be a student athlete, and your team, you know, doesn't get to play. I mean, that's got to be terrible. Then in 2021, you know, there's a coaching change made earlier in the season. And then in 2022, you get a new coach. You experience, you know, a little bit of success, and then, you know, this year's record is disappointing. So we owe it to those guys to give them a great out to a career, because, you know, you think about Jackson and Christian and what they've meant, and others. But I'll just say those two. Noel, you know, I mean, a lot of guys. Rayonte, what he's been through, and what they mean to this program, and really, you know, they've shown the perseverance and the resilience and the toughness that you love, you know. So we owe it to them to go out and play our asses off and get a win. And you know, you're always going to feel better going into the season, off season, with wins. However, you can't ignore what's happened the whole year. But there's going to be a lot of changes around here. I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes, and there needs to be.
Do you expect changes to come as far as coaching staff-wise?
I'm not ready to discuss coaches, but I can tell you that there's always changes in the players, because guys leave. But I'm talking about attitude. I mean, we're going to bring in guys that we're going to bring some hard asses in. That's what we're going to bring in, some hard asses. So.
Coach, can you talk about Jackson Mitchell's impact on the program and the impact on you personally these last 2 years?
Well, on the program, it's immeasurable. I mean, he's in every day. He comes with the same attitude and the same energy and the same intent, you know, and that is to do all that he can to be a great player for his team in this program. And he never wavers. And it's incredible to see, because he's been through some really disappointing times, and you would really never know it by his attitude. You know, I mean, the only time I ever see Jackson, you know, even a little bit down is after games, but he bounces back quick. And I love that about him. And as a coach, you know, when you get to be around a guy like that, it inspires you to be at your best every day, because, you know, you owe it to them. You know, I don't consider myself a guy that needs to be inspired to do my best every day, because I wake up thinking that way, but it's still, you know, there's a responsibility there to guys like that. And I've loved the fact that I've been able to coach him for 2 years, and I think he's got a future. He was invited to the Hula Bowl, which is a big deal. Christian Haynes was invited to the Senior Bowl. He was also invited to the East-West Shrine game, which is a big deal. So, you know, those are a couple guys that are going to continue their football careers at the next level.
You expand on Christian a little bit, same thing.
Same, repeat, rinse and repeat, you know, really. Just an incredible human being. Jackson, incredible human being, got great integrity, cares about his program, cares about his team, cares about his teammates, takes great pride in his work ethic, is really become a dominant offensive guard, center. You know, he might be a center at the next level. Just puts time into his craft, tries to perfect his craft, comes to work every day as the same guy. You can't get him down. And it's the same thing, man. As a coach, you love being around guys like that, you know. And as I said, I feel a responsibility to guys like that. I feel a responsibility to them this year, and I feel a responsibility to them going forward, you know, because there's something you build on.
What would you say about them, probably more as people than a player, that they came in, they sat out a year, they struggled, and they stayed?
Well, it tells you everything you want to know about integrity, you know, and character, and stick-to-itiveness, and being resilient, and loyalty, right, to a program. Because they both have had opportunities to leave here, especially when the portal, you know, became a factor, and they didn't. You know, they didn't chase money. They stayed here where their heart was, and you know, anyone that chooses them to be on their team at the next level is getting someone that you can count on and you can trust and is going to be there every day, and are darn good players and probably better people. And that's what you're always looking for as a program or as an NFL organization.
Along similar lines, how much did they help you, you know, coming in as a new coach, to have a guy on each side of the ball? I know they weren't seniors when you came in, but, you know, they had established themselves as leaders with this team. How much did they help you kind of adjust into your role?
More and more as time went on, as I began to, you know, when you come in new, you don't really know anyone. You hear from people what people are, but I think it's important to, you know, form your own opinions based upon what you see with your eyes, you hear with your ears. And so as time went on, it became, even though they didn't say much at all, right? I mean, neither of those guys are talkers. It became very apparent as we went along, and I'd say probably, you know, through that first spring and early into the fall camp, just who they were. And they demonstrated it every single day. And so now all of a sudden you go, I got two guys here, one on each side of the ball, like you said, Joe, that, you know, they really do it the right way, and they're really good football players. And it's someone that two guys that you point every other player, especially the young ones, at and say, be like that guy. Think like that guy, act like that guy, work like that guy, be loyal like that guy, hold yourself to the standard that guy holds himself to and others around him to, and then you'll have a chance.
As this year has gone along, obviously, like you said, the record doesn't show, you know, where this team is, but how have you seen those two respond and interact with their teammates and lead, you know, when times aren't going other?
So we've all been in locker rooms where there's a losing streak or a winning streak, and in those situations, oftentimes you get inconsistency, you know, and really with these two guys, they're the same every day, which I really respect. So whether we win a game or we lose a game, they come back the next day with the same energy and intent for their next challenge. And other times is, you know, you get in the locker room sometimes when a team suffered a tough defeat and there's frustration, which is normal, and sometimes dissension can creep in, or finger pointing, and those guys, they don't do it at all. Really, none of our guys do, and which is a compliment to all our guys on our team. But I think there's probably some guys on our team that are that maybe, I don't know for sure, but I know one thing. If I was a player and I knew that Christian Haynes was looking to see if I was going to try to divide the locker room or be a finger pointer, I'd just keep my damn mouth shut, okay, because he would not settle for that. And that's nice to have as a head coach.
Jim, can I ask you just a little bit about the game coming up?
Yeah, sure.
What you see and what you're looking forward to there, other than the win?
Well, I'm looking forward to it being senior day and recognizing the players that are playing their last game at the Rent, and hopefully their families can be in attendance. And you know, I think for me, when it gets to game day, every game's the same. You know, I love to compete. I love to watch our players compete. I love to just, you know, be a part of the atmosphere of the game. It's a team that you know that is local, so it's important to win these games, you know. And I really just want to go see us play to our potential, and in those moments, like I talked about earlier, where we need to capture a moment, where we capture that moment, and then be able to build on that going forward. Okay? All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice afternoon.